The Met Police stands shoulder to shoulder with our partners and communities. Together, we take a zero-tolerance approach to hate crime.
That's really good for institutionally racist, sexist, bigoted Metropolitan Police, but yeah, maybe there's a few good apples there.
I'm as real as a real can get. What you see?
Buongiorno, freaks and geeks. Welcome back to the channel. So I imagine you have seen that there have been 4 ambulances that have been assassinated. So there's been a video released showing 3 individuals setting light to said ambulances. Not much can be gleaned from the video, in all honesty, and I find it really strange that they didn't even pretend to hide their gait or their walking anyway. Also, if these ambulances are for emergency services, it's really interesting that these people knew that these ones weren't going to be used at all. But putting all of that to one side, you can imagine the UK's response has been measured and reasonable. If you ignore that there's a cost of living crisis in this country, everything will be fine. If you ignore the UK backed Israel's genocide in Gaza, everything will be fine. If you ignore Keir Starmer actually appointed Peter Mandelson after knowing he had close links to Jeffrey Epstein, it will be fine. If you ignore the UK is backing America and Israel's illegal act of aggression and war on Iran, everything will be fine. But you know what won't be fine? The fact that a few idiots decided to euthanize old ambulances. But whatever. Let's get through what we need to get through. But before we do, please don't forget to hit the buttons for like, subscribe, and tell me down below, what the hell is going on?
An attack on the heart of London's Jewish community and on an attack on an ambulance service whose sole reason for being is to provide health and care and emergency response to the local community.
Yeah, what type of ambulance service doesn't do that? That is a strange and specific thing to state on national TV. But hey ho, what else are you going to expect from Wes Streeting?
The police are working at pace to catch those responsible. The Prime Minister and the Home Secretary will have more to say about that. But when it comes to our response today to support our friends in the community with the ambulance service, with London Ambulance Service will today be providing additional support to make sure that the charity is supported.
You know, I just realised, I was thinking, what the hell is Wes Streeting doing there? And then I remembered he's actually the Health Secretary. As dull as he is, he actually has an important job. So of course he's going to be on the scene when there's been an assassination of ambulances, because health is his remit. But it'll be really interesting where else they would actually employ this type of response. Can you imagine if a Muslim solar panel business got firebombed and all of a sudden Ed Miliband just popped up because he's the net zero secretary? It'd be pretty strange, but I guess that's where we are in this country at the moment.
To respond to anyone in need. So the important message to the local Jewish community, indeed to the Londoners more widely, if you need help from the ambulance service today, seek it. We will be there for you.
What? Like that's supposed to be the case, and everything's just become a bit muddy, if you ask me. And yeah, it's just unsettling, to be honest.
But the Jewish community should not be left footing the bill for this despicable attack, which is why tomorrow morning at the latest we will have 4 ambulances in place to replace those that have been destroyed, and we'll be working to replace those ambulances on a permanent basis, and we will fund the replacement of those ambulances. Those responsible for this attack must know that the Jewish community will not face up to this hatred alone. The whole country will stand with them. And when we think about some of the recent anti-Semitic attacks we've seen in this country, now is a time for all decent-minded people to stand up, to speak up with one voice, that we will stand with the Jewish community here and across the country in confronting this vile anti-Semitism.
Yeah, lot to unpack there. What I will say is that we've seen the attack in that video. The motivations behind it can be assumed, but to be honest, I never knew there was a ambulance service being run by Jewish volunteers in North London. And I don't know, did you know that? So it's hard for me to actually give a fully fleshed out opinion.
Streeting, Lucy Manning, BBC News, what do you say to the Jewish community who feel that they haven't been protected and these attacks have been ongoing and haven't been stopped?
Look, there is no doubt that what this attack was designed to do is to strike fear into the heart of Jewish people.
Really? We know this for certain. That was the motivation behind the attack. I mean, like it kind of sounds like you're suggesting it was a terrorist attack, because terrorist attacks have those types of political motivations in mind. If it's just a hate crime, this and a hate crime, you can't start adding suspicions of terrorism on top. It's just really weird for you to come straight out of the gate hot like that, saying, come on, Wes, relax. Like, you're at a 10, we need to be at a 2 right now.
Here in Golders Green, but also across the country. And as a Member of Parliament who represents a significant Jewish community further east in London, I know that what's happened here will be felt painfully and acutely by all Jewish people across our country. The aim of these attackers is clear. They want Jewish people in this country to live smaller lives, to live less Jewish lives, to be less visible as Jewish people, to fear going about Jewish life, whether that's attending school with their kids, shul with their families at weekends, or providing the services and support that makes the Jewish community one of the most resilient, strong and proud communities in the country.
What are you talking about? How do you know this? Like, as speculations go, this is almost the size of Jupiter. I mean, how do you know all of this? Like, you're saying this on the day of finding out that this arson attack has happened. And you're just adding stuff on top. It's just really bizarre. Like, no one on that side of the political spectrum is going to look at a isolated Muslim hate crime and say it's done to strike fear in the hearts of all Muslims up and down the country. No, they'll probably say, oh, you're reading too much into it, when it's Wes Streeting's very comfortable coming on live television and saying this. Cool.
I know that the Jewish community will not be cowed by this despicable act of evil, but it is the responsibility of the rest of us not to be bystanders. Every decent person in this country needs to stand up and speak up against this vile anti-Semitic hatred. And of course, the best form of solidarity is practical solidarity, which is why today our London Ambulance Service colleagues will be providing support to the team here in Golders Green to make sure that we don't skip a beat when it comes to responding to emergency call-outs.
Fantastic. Can you do that where my mum lives? Because last time she had to wait a whole hour for an ambulance. So if you can duplicate those efforts right across London, that would be greatly appreciated, Wes. Thank you.
And we will also, by tomorrow morning, be providing 4 replacement ambulances, initially on loan until we can provide permanent replacements. The Jewish community should not be left footing the bill for this appalling attack on a brilliant ambulance service staffed by brilliant, highly trained and committed volunteers, almost all of whom were up in the middle of the night responding not only to this attack but to responding to call-outs, even as their own service had been set on fire by these vile attackers.
So that's where I'm a bit confused. So this is a very busy service by all accounts. So there were just four ambulances just left unattended. Like, the people in that video didn't seem like they were in a rush or felt that they were going to be called, but they were able to set 4 ambulances on fire. Okay, I got it. That's good. Okay, no, fine.
Together we will stand and we will confront and beat anti-Semitism, but this cannot be left to the Jewish community alone. All of us have to respond. And yes, of course, we continue to support our friends at the Community Security Trust to invest more in Jewish security, and the Home Secretary will have more to say about that. But the answer cannot simply be higher walls, thicker doors, more CCTV. We also have to deal with this hatred at its source. We have to confront and beat the evil ideas that are permeating in our society. Anti-Semitism is an old hatred, but it is alive and kicking in our country, and all of us, particularly those who are not Jewish, have to wake up, stand up, and work with our Jewish friends and neighbours in confronting and defeating this despicable hatred.
Yeah. What am I going to look like coming on this video and saying, no, we shouldn't fight anti-Semitism? Of course we should fight anti-Semitism, just like we should fight Islamophobia, just like we should fight anti-black racism, just like we should fight transphobia, just like we should fight classism. Like, there's so many things we should fight. I don't know if the burning of 4 ambulances, as bad as that is, no one was physically hurt, by the way, warrants such a big spectacle. Yeah, but we're not going to stop there. There's some more. We're going to get some comments from the police now, so let's get into that video.
It's around 1:45 hours today. We were called by the London Fire Brigade to report to a fire on Highfield Road, Golders Green. We attended the scene where 4 ambulances from Hatzola, a volunteer-led ambulance service run by members of the Jewish community, were on fire.
How many fires must have happened yesterday that didn't get a massive public statement like this? I just think it's odd. It's odd, that's all I'm saying.
The attack occurred in the car park of a local synagogue where Hatzola's vehicles for this area are based. Explosions were heard as oxygen canisters on board the ambulances exploded. Nearby homes were evacuated as a precaution, with 34 residents displaced and road closures put in place. Thankfully, no injuries were reported and all of the fires were safely put out. 4 ambulances have been destroyed, but we understand the service remains fully operational and able to respond to emergencies.
I wonder if the Universal NHS has spare, no, but they must have spare ambulances like that. But then again, like, you must know a lot about this particular operation, that you knew that these 4 spare ambulances were going to be there at that time, and you're able to just walk up casually and just set fire to them, right?
We were able to get local residents back into their homes relatively quickly, and I thank them for their patience and understanding. This arson attack is being treated as an anti-Semitic hate crime. This is a devastating incident for our Jewish communities, and we've launched an immediate investigation to identify those responsible. Our officers remain on scene to carry out urgent inquiries and to gather CCTV footage and other evidence.
Just for your information, London is the most surveyed city on the planet. If they're not able to find these individuals, then there's definitely something else afoot. I mean, even where this incident took place, those are private cameras that captured them. So I would imagine that with all of the other public and private CCTV happening in London alone, they would be able to find those individuals very, very quickly, I would say.
We believe we're looking for 3 suspects at this early stage. CCTV footage appears to show 3 people in hoods pouring accelerant onto the vehicles before igniting them and fleeing. While this has not been declared a terrorist incident at this stage, The investigation is now being led by counter-terrorism policing, with all the specialist expertise they bring and all lines of inquiry remain open.
Like, what would be the terroristic message there? Stop saving people's lives. Like, what? Is that the level that terrorists have stooped to? Like, with all of the different targets you could have went for, you're setting alight something that prevents death. Okay, maybe that's a thing. Yeah, maybe that is a thing, and we will come to that possible thing later in this video.
We are aware of an online claim from a group taking responsibility for this attack. Establishing the authenticity and accuracy of this claim will be a priority for the investigation team, but it is not something we can confirm at this point. There have been no arrests at this early stage, and we would urge anyone with information to please contact us as soon as possible. You can do so anonymously if you wish. We have already spoken to local community and faith leaders and will continue that work today. A specific policing plan focused on key community locations across the area is underway and will continue beyond the coming days as we move towards Passover in early April. This attack comes at a time when fears are already heightened given global events and recent attacks targeting Jewish communities in other parts of Europe.
Yeah, so I imagine the global events you are speaking about is what's taking place in Gaza. And let me be very clear, anyone that attacks a Jewish person here because of what's happening in Gaza, that is the definition of anti-Semitism. Linking Jewish people just by nature of their religion to the state of Israel is anti-Semitic. Yeah, so that is that. But, and we will get to this later on in this video, why are hate crimes against Muslims specifically not given this much attention? In fact, you're more likely to get a TV spot if you're being Islamophobic than you are to see this type of response to a unprovoked attack on Muslim people.
The Met Police stands shoulder to shoulder with our partners and communities. Together, we take a zero-tolerance approach to hate crime.
That's really good for institutionally racist, sexist, bigoted Metropolitan Police, but yeah, maybe there's a few good apples there.
We are stepping up our support to Jewish communities across London to engage, offer reassurance and take practical action to protect people and property. If you have any information about what happened in Golders Green, please come forward and call the police on 101, providing the reference 415 of the 23rd of March. To remain anonymous, call the independent charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Thank you very much. I'm now going to hand over to Deputy Assistant Commissioner Paul Askew from the London Fire Brigade.
Golly. So not only is the Metropolitan Police given a statement, we're going to get a statement from the Fire Brigade. Oh, this is exciting stuff, kiddies.
Of course, yeah. Early this morning, the London Fire Brigade control room took the first of 56 calls reporting a fire on Highfield Road in Golders Green. Upon arrival, crews were met with a well-developed fire involving 4 ambulances. Several cylinders stored within the vehicles exploded because of the heat, causing damage to the windows of a nearby residential block. Residents from the immediate area were evacuated to a rest centre as a precaution while crews worked to bring the incident under control. The fire was safely extinguished overnight. We understand the impact this fire will have on the local community, including our Jewish residents. The Brigade's community engagement team attended the rest centre last night to support residents that have been directly impacted by the fire. Alongside our firefighters, they will continue to work with and support the local community in the coming days. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What about the people anxiety? Those neighbors, the people are scared.
And off they trotted. quick aside, I don't remember them doing any type of joint statement when Grenfell happened, and people absolutely got evaporated in there. Strange that, isn't it? Anyway, as you can imagine, there's been a flurry of activity on X, formerly known as Twitter. Here you have Jeremy Corbyn explaining that this ambulance service was actually open to everyone, which is quite interesting, because if the people who did this knew this, it's not, you can't claim it's an anti-Semitic attack, because that will be an attack on all people, Jews and non-Jews. So how can you specifically say it's an anti-Semitic attack if, in Jeremy Corbyn's words, and actually on the website of this particular charity, it says that the service is open to all members of the Golders Green community? Strange. Things to make you go, Here, Barnet Metropolitan Police state we are investigating an anti-Semitic arson attack on Jewish ambulances. Jewish ambulances. I wonder what makes them particularly Jewish. They have a bar mitzvah? I don't know. That's such an interesting way to term an ambulance. Like, do they call the St. John's ambulances like Christian ambulances or something? That's just so bizarre. But anyway, on Jewish ambulances in Golders Green, we know this will cause significant concern in the local community and are stepping up patrols and engaging with faith leaders. Okay, doing what they have to do, I guess, because they are the Metropolitan Police, but calling it Jewish ambulances is diabolical. Obviously, Keir Starmer had to get in on the action, here stating, "My thoughts are with the Jewish community who are waking up this morning to this horrific news. Anti-Semitism has no place in our society. Anyone with any information must come forward to the police." Thank you for nothing, Keir Starmer, just adding absolute fluff there. But my favorite reaction on Twitter was from my all-time favorite troll, Ayup Lovely, who simply quote tweets with the words Jewish ambulances. They're just ambulances. What makes them Jewish? Guys, you're crazy. But to be serious for a moment, as we just saw, there were a number of public statements made, whether they were by the Metropolitan Police, the London Fire Brigade, Wes Streeting, and where public statements happen, obviously members of the press and journalists also have to attend. But it seems that this particular community had some reservations around members of Al Jazeera attending.
No one wants Al Jazeera over here.
You don't decide.
No one wants your people in the office.
So don't
can change
attack
it.
me.
Yeah, but your people,
Don't
the people
attack
you
me.
work for. The people
Don't
you work
attack
for.
me.
The people
Don't
you work
attack
I don't
me.
know who
Don't
you
attack
are.
me.
I don't know who you work
Don't
for.
attack me.
I don't know
Don't
about
attack
you,
me.
but I know the
An
person
entity
go.
that
Al
has
Jazeera should
questionable
go away.
motives.
Go back to Qatar. Of course.
You represent an entity that has questionable motives, and by association.
And that concerns me, because what has Al Jazeera done to Jews in Golders Green exactly? Like, I can't remember them doing anything malicious or sadistic towards them, but yet they are told by community members that they do not feel safe with Al Jazeera around.
Feel threat from Al Jazeera being here. Al Jazeera being here is threatened. We feel threatened. We don't feel safe. The reporting is going to go to potential terrorists.
Absolutely bizarre. And as the video also shows, they go on to make some very racist and intimidating comments towards the particular journalists.
Al Jazeera, off our streets! Go home!
How they came into Israel on October 7th. They came with Hamas.
I think he wants to go, he knows the reality of the truth. Time to move on.
Freedom of the press, eh? That's a wonderful thing. Now, the only thing I can think of is that these particular Jews are upset over Al Jazeera's coverage of the Gaza genocide, which would make me then assume that they are Zionist, pro-Israeli Jews. Even if that is the case, what the hell does this one journalist in London have to do with what is happening in the Middle East? Now, if I was to automatically associate members of that community with Israel, I would be rightfully told I am anti-Semitic. So you automatically connecting a journalist in London to the actions of Hamas in Gaza is inherently Islamophobic. But like any good opportunist, I'm not going to let this link go to waste. If these community members are directly linking themselves to the state of Israel, can we have a quick look at what the state of Israel has done to health professionals in Gaza and the West Bank? August 2025, UN experts appalled by relentless Israeli attacks on Gaza's healthcare system. If you are saying the attack on 4 ambulances in North London is an attack on the Jewish community, what the hell are you going to be saying about this? The UN has reported that health and care workers have fainted due to lack of food and starvation, a violation not only of their own rights to health, but one that curtails their ability to perform their duties and compromises the care and healing conditions necessary to treat their patients. This is the UN writing this. But wait, there's more. The World Health Organization has reported 735 attacks on healthcare in Gaza from 7th of October 2023 to 11th of June 2025 that have killed 917 persons and injured 1,411, affected 125 health facilities and damaged 34 hospitals. We've had national press conferences around 4 ambulances being set alight. This information alone about what has happened in Gaza should warrant 25 world press conferences every day for the next 100 years. Finishing off, deliberate attacks on health and care workers and health facilities, which are gross violations of international humanitarian law, must stop now. And I only bring this up because those same individuals that chased away Al Jazeera journalists connecting themselves to the state of Israel. But if we want to focus on the issue of strictly hate crimes, because this hasn't been upgraded to a terrorist attack yet, let's focus on the statistics for the last financial year. So, official statistics, hate crime, England and Wales, year ending March 2025, which was published on the 9th of October 2025. So this current attack in Golders Green, we won't see the stats for that maybe by October 2026. But yeah, add one more to the till. So skipping down to the section where it's specifically focusing on hate crimes targeted against Muslims and Jews. 50% of offences for both, it says here. So in this little bar chart, as you can see, the statistics are split between Jews and Muslims. I guess the green is Muslims and the blue, I think that's blue, I don't know, is for Jews. So public fear, alarm or distress is kind of even. Criminal damage and arson, Jews outweigh Muslims significantly. There are over twice as many reports of criminal damage and arson. As I said, this particular case will be added into the arson statistics for the year ending March 2026. Malicious communication, yeah, fairly close, but Jews face it more often. Okay, now it comes to assault with and without injury. As you can see there, Muslims are almost double of Jews. Stalking and harassment, again, Muslims outweigh Jews and others. I would love to see what is in the other category, but yeah, Muslims slightly outweigh Jews. you come down to the actual hard statistics, as you can see, perceived religion. So all of this is on the perceived religion of the victim. So this is where people are visibly Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, all of that. So this does not include secular Jews. At the end of the day, how are you gonna know someone's a secular or ethnic Jew, as they say, unless they tell you? But anyway, so looking at these statistics, Jewish victims have a number of 2,873, whereas Muslim victims are 4,478. And I know what you're probably thinking, oh, there's more Muslims in this country. Of course, they're going to have more registered or reported cases, but that doesn't matter. It should still be given much more attention. It is being given right now. I mean, look at all of the hysteria around grooming gangs. Muslim men or gangs comprising solely of Muslim men are significantly outweighed by gangs comprising of white British men. But who does the news choose to focus on? Muslim men. And it's that type of conditioning which probably leads to these types of reports of hate crimes against Muslim people. What's really interesting is that like perceived religion of the victim is unknown, but still they've got 1,075 reports, which is who comprises of that? That's really strange. And who's going around attacking Buddhists? Come on, guys, we can do better than that. But yeah, returning to the issue of hate crimes, Muslims are the most attacked religious group in this country, and one such case happened in Abbey Wood. I'm not sure if you've seen this video, so trigger warning ahead. As you can see, that poor woman got tossed up into the air. Thankfully, she survived, but I didn't see no press conference. It happened at the beginning of March. A human being got tossed up in the air by a car. No government leaders went down to Abbey Wood and showed solidarity with the victim, which was clear. It was clearly an act of Islamophobia. But yeah, no, none of that. And this really speaks to what was mentioned years ago, especially when it came to Jeremy Corbyn leading the Labour Party. There is such a hierarchy of identity in this country. Should they take attacks on the Jewish community seriously? Of course they should. But why does that behavior not extend to every other religion in this country? And it's really convenient that this is all distracting from geopolitical events and the fact that Keir Starmer hasn't had his hand on the steering wheel of his leadership for a little while now. So all of this is quite convenient, if you ask me. But yeah, that was quite a lengthy excursion into the world of Jewish ambulances. Tell me what you think below. I have no reason to believe it's not a hate crime, but I do have questions over how do the perpetrators know of this service, and if they knew that much about the service, they should have known that it also apparently caters to the whole community. So that means you're not really attacking just Jewish people, you're attacking everyone, which I find quite strange. Yeah, Wes Streeting, like, obviously he thinks that he's next in line to become Prime Minister, but I swear if there's a God, he will get voted out at the next general election. Like, there's no reason he needs to get any more power than being Health Secretary. And it's just absolute disgrace that not only was that Al Jazeera journalist chased out of the area just for trying to report on the news, but other right-wing journalists supported them being chased out. Guys, what are we doing? Yeah, but yeah, I'll just repeat what I said. Wes Streeting, if you got any more ambulances going spare, please deploy them in the East London area. We need them desperately because, yeah, like I say, people are waiting hours for an ambulance to arrive. So yeah, as I usually say, once we understand politics more, we will make better choices. I don't know if I made anything more clear for you, but yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. If you want to spot red flags in relationships, I voiced the audiobook, link in the description below. If you stayed with me up to this point, I really appreciate it and thank you for the support. Don't forget to hit the buttons for like, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Ciao.